Very good. So thank you for being here. The agenda is very simple. We're going to cover very briefly who we are as LoPeS Performance Solutions and how to become a LoPeS associate. So first of all, who we are. We like our customers to see us as a consultancy company 100% dedicated to developing human performance solutions. And we want our customers to imagine us as standing at the intersection in between science and practice. So we go to the academia, we look at what science says about human performance, behavior science, and all of this. And then we combine that with extensive experience of our associates. You see some in the call, and by combining experience with science, we develop unique solutions. That's the idea. LoPeS is a socially responsible corporate. We have been audited by the B Lab from the UK for our social responsibility practices. And we are members of two associations that are, you will agree, very important for us. One is Human Performance in Oil and Gas, and the International Association of Drilling Contractors. We are very active with SPE as well, ADIPEC, but all we do is associated with human performance. So how to help customers improve the business results by improving the performance of their teams. A word on culture. So culture is a system of shared values, or what is important for us, and norms, what behaviors identify us. So from the very beginning, when I founded the company, we defined 5 values that identify us. We really put our customers at the heart of our solutions. So our customers' needs are our needs. We behave with integrity always, no matter what. We are socially responsible. We value diversity, and we are innovative, creative. Creation and listening to new ideas is what keeps us differentiating from our competitors. On the right-hand side, you see a document that you will receive after you accept the invitation to be part of the academy, right? And this document summarizes the commitment LoPeS Performance Solutions has in terms of behaviors, and the commitments you will agree with when you become a LoPeS associate, which is pretty much aligned with our values. When we say we are a socially responsible organization, we really do have 3 pillars in our social responsibility program. First of all, we only do honest, transparent, and fair businesses. Fair businesses with our customers, with our associates, and with our providers. That's very important. Secondly, we are carbon neutral. So every year we do a calculation of the number of CO2 tons that we emit to the atmosphere. And then through a very interesting NGO, we buy the how do you call the shares in order to compensate the amount of CO2 tons that we have emitted during the year. And we do that through the Banco Dos, which is a Colombian NGO. And these guys, what they do, they go and look for countryside people who are cutting the trees, and then they pay them for, instead of cutting the trees, they become guards of this forest. So they defend the forest, and that's a very nice project they have. So we support that through our commitment to be carbon neutral. And the third one is Utopia, which is a faculty from Universidad de La Salle in Colombia. They created the faculty in Yopal, an area that has been suffering from social instability for years. And what they do is they do a scholarship to good students who just finished their high school, and these students are there, everything paid for 4 years, and they become engineers, agriculture engineers, basically. And part of their academic syllabus is to come back to their areas of origin and do an agriculture project that is going to benefit the society from where they are, when they, from where they belong. So what we do is we sponsor the final project of one student per contract. So every time we land a contract, we talk to Utopia, and we basically sponsor one student per contract. Per contract, our customers give to LoPeS, right? So this is very important for us, because in today's business world, to me, success is not about making money; it's about being a decent member of the society. Um, this is our mission and vision, recently reviewed with the team in Colombia. So we develop unique solutions to improve human performance. This is what we do. And our solutions are science-based, are flexible, are effective. So we measure the effectiveness, and above everything, our solutions are humanized. By 2030, LoPeS will be the global referent of human performance solutions. So this is our ambition. We want to be the McKinsey or the Deloitte of human performance. We really want to be seen as the masters of the topic, and we will differentiate on and on by being innovative, being, developing new solutions, and always give results to our customers that are unbeatable. So this is who we are, right? Let me close this short presentation on who we are by telling you why are we different as consultants, right? And most of you have suffered consultants in your lives as professionals, right? And when I left Schlumberger 3.5 years ago, I said, if I'm gonna fund a consultancy, I will differentiate from the things that I didn't like about consultants. So the first one is that we really put people at the heart of our solutions. You will see that all of our solutions are really truly involving the frontline employees in the solution, right? So it's truly really a bottom-up approach. The second big differentiator we have is that we use science to develop our solutions, but on top of that, we transfer the knowledge. You will see when we talk about the portfolio that typically what we do is we prepare people inside the customer's organizations so they can fly along without us. So what we want with our customers is long-term relationships, but as a good marriage, they are with us, but because they love us and not because they have to. And that's one of the things that in consultancy are very bad in my concept, when consultants try to to hook up the customer, by not transferring the knowledge. We do transfer the knowledge. The third one is that our solutions are flexible. So the first stage in the implementation of every solution is a diagnosis, in which we really go and look at what the customer needs, and then we adapt our solution to their needs. So it's up to us to adapt our solutions to the customer and not the other way around, which is very common in consultancy. Consultants sometimes want the customers to, remove what they have and put, the consultant solution, which is not good and not good at all. Last not least, all of our solutions are backed up by statistically significant models. And that is to say that we do demonstrate the return on the investment by using statistical models. So we measure our results, and the customers as you will see during the academia, the customers are happy to see that there is a tangible outcome of our solutions, which is rare in this type of consultancy. So these are the four main differentiators. We put the people at the heart of our solutions. We use science and transfer the knowledge. Our solutions are flexible. We adapt to the customer needs. And last not least, we do deliver our solutions by measuring the impact with statistically sound models. This is probably the most important slide of all, because this shows you how we really differentiate in our concept from what is in the market, right? I was in Harvard studying organizational psychology, and I saw maybe 5 or 6 of these models of culture change. And basically, to use one example, this one from Branscombe and Barron, the idea is that you define the desired values and attitudes at the top level of the organization, and then you combine that with the employees' values and attitudes. And the culture change program is very focused on changing on reinforcing the desired values and attitudes, like teamwork, like being honest, like being innovative, etc. These are values. These are attitudes, right? These are not behaviors. But then what the model says is that by reinforcing these values, attitudes change, and then the behavior changes, right? That's the model that I saw in the academia, and I saw from most of the consultants in my career, right? And technically, this is good. There is nothing wrong from the technical or scientific perspective in this approach. The problem is that attitudes change, and it's very difficult to measure. Measure an attitude or measure a value of a person. Yes, there are psychometric tools to do that, but it's very, very, very difficult to do, and it's very difficult to sustain. So our approach in LoPeS is compliance by conviction, a bottom-up approach, a really, truly bottom-up approach. And what it means is that we identify critical behaviors the company wants, like the ideal leader of the company or the ideal employee, how the employee is to be behaving. Then we make changes in the operational context to allow behavioral adherence. And we also give soon and certain and positive feedback systematically to employees. And by doing that, behavior changes. Some people will say we force behavior change. Yes, if you want. But by changing behaviors, then people eventually will see the personal benefit. And when the human being feels a benefit, then the attitude changes. And by doing that, we generate culture. We make employees live the corporate values. This is the most important slide of the presentation, to tell you the truth, because it shows you very clearly the difference in our approach versus our competitors, which is we give results in a short-term period of time, and we give sustainable results by focusing on behaviors. Last not least, very important to notice that basically behavior is measurable, is observable, and is engineerable. So that's why we, LoPeS, we are behavioralists. Now I have a question for you. What do we need to get there, right? And I want to leave this question for you. It's how our portfolio really answers this, and that the answer is going to come a little bit later and during the academia. This is the organizational structure we have today, and last week we were updating our business strategy, and the summary of that is that we need to Juan Carlize this thing, right? We need to behave as a corporate. So we will move soon to an organization in which we have a manager for digital and artificial intelligence, We are already walking into this arena, and as consultants, we cannot just forget that the world is going to be very, very heavily impacted by artificial intelligence. That's very important. And then for us to grow organically, we will need program managers, at least at the beginning, for LATAM and the Middle East. The good news is that we have identified these guys, and they are going to be the ones managing the projects under my direction, and that's going to give us the possibility of growing organically. Later in this call, I'm going to show you how to get to these roles of project manager, program manager, and BDM. But basically, that's what we want in the short term, how we want to organize ourselves. So what we need to move our organizational structure from who we are today to what I'm showing just as soon is basically we need projects. So in Latin America, we are good, and you will see it in a minute. But in the Middle East, we started very strong, and I strategically decided to slow down this year. I'm sorry, this year, and the reason is because LoPeS didn't have a proper professional to represent us in the Middle East, based in the Middle East. But that is about to be solved. The candidate is in the call, and I'm sure that we're going to grow in these two strongholds, LATAM and Middle East, steadily, at least for the next 2 years, before we go into other markets geographically. Okay, guys. So if you ask me what are the markets in which we want to penetrate, in terms of types of industry, obviously this is not limited to, but what we think is the main markets we want to penetrate are oil and gas, our stronghold because of our background, construction, very important, aviation, because some of our solutions are coming from top-notch researchers in aviation. So we do have solutions that I'm sure can penetrate that industry, and mines, like gold, like coal, and all of this. So these are the industries in which we are concentrating our efforts to penetrate. And where do we want to be in the short term is Latin America and the Middle East. We are already in Latin America, we are already in the Middle East, but we want these two areas, geographical areas, to become the strongholds of LoPeS Performance Solutions. So before we go into how to become a LoPeS associate, let me go very quickly through our portfolio. So we have a number of solutions that we carefully identified to not become a commodity, right? And not being tagged as a safety company. So we are a company that develops suitable solutions to improve human performance. And obviously, safety is a very important part of it, but we are not a safety company, right? So I'm going to go one by one, and these are basically the chapters we will see in the academia. So you are knowledgeable enough to go to the market, sell LoPeS, and if you become a project manager, implement this kind of solutions. The first solution that has been very successful is leading with purpose. So what we do is coach the leaders so they behave as transformational leaders. And how do we do that? We first sit with the top level of management of the company and define the behaviors that identify the good leader in that organization, right? So instead of, we take the values of the company and these attitudes that we mentioned before, and we translate them into behaviors that are observable and measurable. And then we apply a psychometric tool that I learned in Harvard is called multi-factor leadership to profile the leaders before we do the coaching. So we have a baseline, we have a kind of initial point of reference. And then we go through a program of 5 coaching sessions, 1 hour each, with each of the leaders that have been selected by the company. And that's very interesting because this is not a program in which you put 20 leaders in a room and then you try to change them. That's not the case. What we do is we first define what the company wants, and then we guide these leaders to adopt a few behaviors that are desired by the company, but they don't have today. And we kind of, take them by the hand and move them through until these behaviors become habits. Then after we have done these 5 1 hour each individual and confidential coaching sessions, then we apply the psychometric tool again. So we have the before and the after, we measure the impact, and so far, we will show you during class at least 3 or 4 of these examples of how we have changed these leaders. But as important as that is that we can sell these solutions individually, or you can sell them as a package. So the second solution we have is the engineering human performance. So if a leader has gone through leading with purpose, then we kind of plant the seeds for these guys to support the other LoPeS solutions that we will implement. That is the case in many of our customers, right? So engineering human performance is a methodology that I developed with IPM when I was in Schlumberger years back. So Gigi is very knowledgeable about that. He can teach the class. So what we do with the engineering human performance methodology is we take a process that is failing, and then we work with the ones who execute this process and identify what are the behaviors that control this process. And by measuring the adherence to these behaviors and give soon certain and positive feedback to the people, then we achieve very high levels of adherence to these behaviors, sustained in time. And by doing that, we have demonstrated that the losses associated with this process drop dramatically. We have done it. I did it in 50 processes inside Schlumberger, and now we are doing it with several customers with very good rates of success. So this is the second solution that I wanted to mention. The third one is taken directly from the aviation industry and is basically mirroring what the pilots do in order to maintain a very high level of situational awareness and manage the dynamic risk. In the oil and gas industry, for example, we take risk as a static concept, but risk is not static. So even if you review the procedure, do your permit to work, do a job safety analysis and a pre-operational meeting, reality is that the project, the process, the operation is dynamic, and things change as the process is being implemented, right? Is being executed. So what the aviation industry has taught and the army also, the military, what they do is they train the people to maintain a very high level of awareness while the operation is ongoing. So they detect the change, they can understand the risk associated with the change, and then they project where the situation is going to, so they manage the risk in a proper way, in a better way, right? How we measure the success in situational awareness is that we have adapted a solution that was proposed by Professor Mika Ensley, is the guru in the subject matter in the aviation industry and the military. And what we have done is that we created a tool called SAGAT, Situation Awareness Global Assessment Technique, to measure the level of competency of the individual before and after the training. So in situational awareness, we train the people. We train people inside the customer organization. So we transfer the knowledge there. And then we measure the impact by applying the SAGAT before and after the training. And then the SAGAT is simply a tool to measure competency. It's very, very innovative. We started doing that using experts from LoPeS and the customer, but now we have moved that into artificial intelligence. So it's the first LoPeS solution that uses artificial intelligence to really massify, to scale up the solution, and being able to cover um, very large levels of population. We are going to go to Barranquilla for the Colombian Petroleum conference in August, later this month, and we will be in Abu Dhabi presenting this solution to the market during the SPE HSE Global conference very soon. So the other solution we have is corporate crisis management. What I did is I adapted a solution that is coming also from the aviation industry, the DODAR process. So the management team, the crisis management team has a rhythm to manage the crisis. And what we do is we train the crisis management team in how to apply this methodology and how to measure the adherence to this methodology. So through simulations, they learn how to behave during a real crisis. So that's another solution we have. Then the next one is human factors in risk management. I'm going to mention that in a minute, in a little bit of detail. And the other one that has not been released, and and SPE is also going to be a good ground for us to present it to the market, is accident investigation with human factors. You might agree in that in a lot of accidents, and that was my case, you do the investigation and you think that the one who had the investigation knew everything that was happening at the moment. But reality is that the person was looking at, a discrete number of data that was available at that point in time. And if we don't understand, what the person was really facing at that moment and what the person was paying attention to, then the accident investigation outcome is not very good. So one of our associates, Professor Pierre Bordage, has helped us doing the instructional design of this tool, and we are about to present it to the market. Last not least, return on social investment. That's something I did for Schlumberger. It's a methodology to make sure that every dollar the customer invests in social responsibility programs has a return on investment, right? And this methodology is also to be presented to the market. We haven't sold it even once so far. So this is one of the challenges that we identified recently in our review of the strategic plan. So this is our portfolio. And very importantly, what is most successful today is this, what we call the triple combo, which is a real transformation, cultural transformation we do in the organization by implementing these three solutions in tandem, as a program. The example of that is Neighbors, is Sierra Col. We have a number of customers, Arabian Drilling as well, in which we implement Leading with Purpose to prepare the leaders to support the other two programs. Then we identify processes that are failing and we fix them. And in parallel, we train the people in how to manage the dynamic risk. So this is a kind of the combo that has been most successful in LoPeS so far. In terms of human factors in risk management, we have inside a kind of a number of things that we can do, like process safety, journey management, family outreach, mechanical lifting, injury prevention. All of these with the human factors incorporated in there. So if you talk to a customer and they are having accidents associated with cranes, then we can go and help them, but not only by teaching them how to do a lifting plan, but how to really make sure that these lifting plans are translated into compliance, into adherence by involving the frontline peoples. As we said, we always do bottom-up approach. This is the last slide of who we are, and I wanted to show you that basically we have a steady pace of profitable growth, right? So you can see here that year on year, our number of projects are increasing, and so it is the revenue, especially in Latin America. As I mentioned before, this year we decided to slow down in the Middle East because we didn't have a business development manager and a program manager there, but we will very soon, very, very soon, extremely soon, we will have one. And we're making between 25 to 30% profit after taxes. So it's a steady growth with a profitable consultancy that we are going to take to a very high level of 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 reputation, if you want. So I would like to stop here before I go into the second topic, which is how to become a LoPeS associate. So is there any question on the audience? Good. I guess you are very anxious to see how to become a LoPeS associate. So there are 5 ways of becoming a LoPeS associate. The first one is, say that you have a good relationship with an executive in an industrial company, maybe from one of these target industries that I mentioned before, and without having to go through the academia or whatever, you can introduce LoPeS to the customer, and then we sell together. Before presenting the offer, we will agree on how to share the total contract value. So we basically offer a percentage of the total contract value if you open the door of the customer, even if it is just a lead. Then we take it from there, right? Obviously, we will need to agree on what will go to you because you open the doors of the customer and what will go to LoPeS. But that's one option. And then the other 3 are straightforward. If you go through the academia and successfully complete the academia, then you will become a project manager as opportunities are landed. The other one is program manager, which is pretty much a person who will manage or who will lead 5 projects or more, right? And so that's my point of decision. Like in Colombia, we're about to land a 5th project, multi-year. Then for me to be able to continue supporting the growth, then we need a program manager for Latin America, right? And that's what is going to happen very soon. Same with the Middle East. And then a business development manager, which is a person who is going to take the leads to, all the way to contracts, and will hand over the contracts to the project manager and the program manager. So I mentioned that there are 5 ways of becoming a LoPeS associate. I'm showing you 4, but you can combine any of them. You can be a program manager and a BDM, or you can be a project manager and a BDM, which is the case of Carlos Botero in Colombia. He's the BDM and he's leading 2 projects. But I'm very open to any suggestions you might have. The idea is for you to see that this is a fair, flexible, and exciting model. Very briefly on what we do or what a project manager does. So the project manager is the customer focal point. This is the person who executes the contract, is responsible for the project deliverables and P&L. So we are a highly involvement organization. So books open, right? You know how much are we charging the customer, and before you walk in, you will know, what is going to be your compensation. By the way, the compensation will have a component on success that is linked directly to the customer satisfaction. So the compensation mirrors the contract, and it's open books, and the project manager will report to the program manager or to me if there is no program manager, which is the case today. The program manager is the relationship with the customer executives, high level. The PMs report to her or to him, and is the technical support of the project manager. Is responsible for multiple projects. As I said, my kind of decision point is 5 projects, and the P&L of these projects. Again, the compensation mirrors the contract. So before we present the proposal, we will agree with the project manager and the program manager what will be the compensation out of the project, and reports to me. And finally, the BDM generates leads and or takes the leads from other associates and increases the booking probability, maintains the opportunity pipeline, is responsible for landing contracts, and hands over the contract to the PM, program manager, or project manager, whatever, and reports to me. So this is kind of in summary what are the roles. So what's in there for you? The transparent compensation model, books open, autonomy. The ones who know me know that I'm available, but I let you work flexibly. Professional growth and knowledge and purpose, because we want to be a referent in the industry, and we really want to reduce human suffering and improve industry reliability and industry efficiency. So let us make together our vision a reality. By 2030, LoPeS will be the global referent of human performance solutions. So this is what is in there for you. Now I'll move on to the academy. The idea is to start on Saturday, September the 7th. It's a 4 hours class each, and one class per week until October the 26th. So why 1 month down the road? Because there are the 3 things that have to happen before we take off. One is to sign the NDA and behavioral contract. So after we finish the call, you're gonna, if you are interested, you're gonna answer a very short forms survey to tell me if you are interested, and then you will need to read 2 papers, one from 2 ladies who used to be VPs in McKinsey and decided to leave the company, and they are really competing very nicely with McKinsey by disrupting their consultancy practices. Eden McCallum, I don't know if you have heard about them, but these 2 ladies are kind of my inspiration on how to do consultancy in a disruptive way. And the other reading is the Humanized Management System, which is a paper, a SPE paper that I wrote with my team in Colombia more than 10 years ago. And that was kind of the beginning of all of this, when we noticed that, companies have developed procedures and competency systems, but at the end of the day, human performance is what makes the difference. And then you will see that week after week, we will go through each one of the portfolio solutions. So you can go deep into what is in there. And the final work is a presentation of the application of the EHP, or engineering human performance, to a process. So depending upon the number of students in the academia, we will create teams of 2 or 3 candidates, and you will need to select the process. And throughout the academia, you will have a coach from LoPeS, one of the associates, to develop or to apply the engineering human performance methodology to one of the processes that you know very well. So you practice that, which is probably the most complex solution we have, and that's why we selected EHP as the kind of the testing ground for you to demonstrate that you are really interested and you have gotten the knowledge. This is the rubric, and the rubric is very simple. It's 10 points per session and 30 points for the presentation to sum up 100. And the certification requires minimum 80% of successful completion. So the commitment from your side is basically the time, right? I'm not going to charge you anything or whatever. Is your time of 8 weekends or 8 Saturdays, 4 hours each, attending these exciting, beautiful classes with us. So you get to know our solutions, and then you're ready to go and help LoPeS grow, um, having success for the company and for you. So that's it basically. I would like you to please scan this QR code, so you can answer the 2 or 3 questions that are there. That basically, are you willing to attend the academia? Are you committed to attend all of them and do the tasks and the homeworks? But there are 15 minutes to go, so I would like to stop here and see if you have any questions or suggestions.
Yeah, I have a question, Juan Carlos. So to date, the Middle East has been made up of Saudi Arabia predominantly, the drilling contractor in Saudi Arabia. Is that correct?
That is true. And services companies.
Okay. And then you mentioned ADCO. Are you referring to ADNOC onshore? Or is it
Both onshore and offshore and the island? And I've been having conversations with a few guys there. I have a dinner when I went out of ADIPEC last year, and there are endless opportunities there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they keep calling. I tell you, Jason, they keep calling, but honestly, it's a huge organization, and for us to preserve the quality of what we do, we really need feet on the ground, and that's why I've been kind of conservative. So what we have done this year in the Middle East is pretty much um, short-term consultancies. That's what we have done, right?
Yeah, interesting. It's a growing market, and you can see the need. There's been quite a significant transition to push to the nationalization process, which in the region, the UAE is probably 20 years behind the neighboring countries. Saudi Arabia was probably one of the first to really go into nationalization, and they put the effort in 25, maybe 30 years ago. Whereas the UAE is probably coming in at it last, but far more aggressive. So, of course, there is a significant need to enhance human performance.
Absolutely, sure. Absolutely, yeah, and we will need to see if we need to entertain alliances, right? Yeah. Because obviously in Saudi there's a lot on, who's going to be your local, but we have work from the entity that I incorporated in the UAE, so that's an advantage when it comes to ADNOC and ADCO, because the company is a UAE company.
I know, but you do have to be Abu Dhabi based to be registered on the ADNOC system. I'm in the same predicament now, where I'm also Ras Al Khaimah, so I can work in the Northern Emirates with the likes of Dubai National, Dragon Oil, Sharjah National Oil Company. So you can work in the north, but to be registered on the ADNOC system, you either need to partner with an Abu Dhabi registered company, or you register your company in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, these are the kind of things that we will need to define as we go by. But that, as you will agree, we really need to have a suitable senior manager there
Yeah.
for us to be able to grow and deliver, especially
Yeah.
deliver, because.
The beauty is right now you can do it as 100% international owned. This is something relatively new, so you don't necessarily have to have a partner. You can register 100% foreign ownership, which is a good thing. Also in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Jason. Any other question, guys?
Yes, I have one. Can you hear me?
Yes, Murilo, go ahead, please.
I presume that most of the people here have different backgrounds, different formation, professional formation, and concerning what you are preparing to deliver in the academy, how will you sort out this difference of professional formation that your group might have?
That's an excellent question. And it's not only the academia, Murillo, is the solutions themselves. Yeah. So I see. It's a very good question, and it's not just about the academia, it's about the solutions. So when we designed the solutions, we were not thinking about oil and gas. We were thinking about industry wide, right? So all the solutions can be applied to any industry. And even any process is not necessarily associated with industrial processes in a factory or something like this. You can apply these processes or these solutions to admin processes, right? Or to admin issues, to culture issues. So it's very, very, in that sense, our portfolio is very adaptable, as I said, right? So, so how we sell, we go to the customer and we listen. That's the first thing we do, right? We listen to their issues, their pains, the areas in which they feel they can improve performance, even if they don't have big problems. Where you can improve your culture or the overall results of the business, and then and only then we present a proposal, right? So we never present proposals firsthand. So we always listen to the customer and see what we have that can help them really, truly, right? So I don't know if I have answered your question. Did you guys scan the QR code already? So I can remove
Yes, we did.
yeah.
Yeah, so this is pretty much what you call the flexible solutions, and that makes you adapt and give what the customer needs, right? Not so as broader the team, the broader are the solutions that you might give to the customers.
Exactly. So let me give you an example. We had a tender in Colombia with the largest private oil and gas company there, and we were competing with DuPont and Star Safety, two big companies, right? And I'm quoting the sponsor of the project, and he said, "Look, what you are offering us is not necessarily cheaper, but you are adapting to us. So you're not asking us to remove what we have to start something completely new. You're not forcing us to. So we really adapted what we have with their case studies, with their issues. And I had lunch with this very sponsor last Friday, and the guy is very happy. And he's happy because we talk their language. We interact a lot with their communication teams, for example. So what we send to the frontline employees talks the language of the company and not the language of the consultant, right? So these are the kind of things that differentiate us. And so coming back to the academia, don't worry about that, because you will enrich with your background the whole conversation, because you come from an industry that is not the industry I was grown up in, right? It's the oil and gas. So you are not an oil and gas guy, right? So that's going to enrich our conversations, I'm sure. Any other?
No, I just want to say that I find this solution very much, industry independent. Doesn't really matter whether it's oil and gas or construction. I mean, it's people's behavior, so it could be anywhere. The industry comes with the contacts of that people have, and how can they develop business. But to be honest, I don't think these methodologies are set uniquely to one single industry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Maintenance companies, in big maintenance companies it's a no-brainer. And, so you're right. It's not industry specific. It's very, 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 it's applicable to any industry, really, truly.
Extremely interested in the whole program and project. I know Juan Carlos, and he's really encouraged all of us to think about the product. I am still working here in Saudi. Maybe I have no idea if I will be continue here for one more year, or I will just start a new life somewhere else. But this option and this program is really an option for me and myself. I'm almost 30 years in this business in oil and gas, and currently we are struggling with the human factor, and specifically with the human behavior. So, and I am very positive that in the kingdom, not only for oil and gas, for different industries, for the now the tourism, they are very interested to move to attract more people. Also in the electrical, in the power operations, that is completely is different. And they also ask for this type of products, and mainly if they have the flexibility and adaptability for their own purposes. So I think it's really a good chance to explore and to be graduated in the academy. So that's my comment, and thank you, Juan Carlos, for this opportunity.
No, thank you for joining. So let's close here. In order to respect the time of everyone, I thank you for joining, and please answer the survey, and I immediately will send the official offer to the ones who accept, along with the NDA and the behavioral contract, so we can move on, and I can share with you the two documents that you will need to read and study before we start on September the 7th. Okay?